y'all. Welcome back to Global Gaming Women's Fair Game podcast. I am Bronwyn Gregg, your Spotlight Series host, and I am joined today by my amazing fellow co-hosts, Lauren O'Brien and Anika Howard. So how are y'all doing today here at the beautiful Light and Wonder studio?
I mean, it's always a great day. I mean, taping day is amazing. So I enjoy. I look forward to seeing these lovely faces every time.
It's so fun to sit at the table with you ladies. I look forward to this every time.
Well,
Exactly.
I feel so official.
I know. We're true podcasters.
Yes.
Exactly. Welcome to the pod. So we've got 4th of July coming up. What have y'all got planned?
These holidays.
Favorite tradition or memory? Favorite tradition or memory?
Yeah, I mean, these holidays come so quickly, but go ahead.
Okay, so I'm at a dance competition. I know we've talked about this in the pod. This is like a trending thing. Nationals. You know, it's a big thing. So we're going to celebrate, the 4th of July with our nationals end of the season kickoff. But we're going to do a little partying, obviously. Yeah. And hopefully, because we'll be on the strip, nationals is here in Las Vegas. We'll get to see some cool fireworks, and the kids will get to experience that. And I think that that's pretty cool. It's different. It looks different than a lot of 4th of Julys for us in the past. We do a lot of family activities, and we try really hard to spend a lot of time together. I know we've talked about this before, but time spent is the best time.
Absolutely, quality time.
So hopefully everybody can join us at the dance comp. But I'll be at a dance comp.
Nice. What's your favorite tradition, memory?
So, I mean, we grew up in Washington, D.C., and so my favorite tradition is when we all go down to the mall and kind of lay on the mall and just have all the fireworks coming.
Yes.
And it's something that we keep on saying every year that we're going to go back and do because it's such a throwback. Yeah. And it's such an amazing thing that I want my nieces and nephews to experience too. Nice. So I think we might try to wrangle the gang down there and secure a location for that.
Totally feel you. I also grew up outside DC.
Yeah, so you know.
Right? Going to the mall, going right in front of the Lincoln Memorial, watching those fireworks. I mean, so patriotic.
That's cool.
Yes. We would always also celebrate, when I was a child, we belonged to Army Navy Country Club in Arlington, Virginia. So would also watch the DC fireworks from that rooftop. And just favorite memories, seeing the monument. It's just perfect place.
It really is.
4th of July is.
That's like picture perfect, right?
Yeah, I know. We could go down to the mall too. I agree. Haven't done it in a while.
Same.
Back to that old tradition. But I'm so excited for this episode today, especially in the spirit of 4th of July. We are going to be hearing from Esther Kim. She is one of the best product managers at FanDuel, and she's also one of the first women to serve in a close combat role in the military when they released gender restrictions. So
she's incredible.
Absolutely incredible. So inspiring, right? Like just hearing her story, I heard it about a year ago, and I'm just so thrilled to get to share this with a wider audience because, gosh, once you hear what Esther has done, you are so motivated and empowered, it just the opportunities seem limitless for what you can accomplish. She's really broken some barriers.
And I think what's really cool about this is just highlighting a little bit about what the Spotlight series is all about is that you never really know a person's story until you dig in and you get to know them. And I think that it is so cool that she's sharing this story because it is so powerful and inspirational.
Yes.
And we get to see this different side of a person that you would have never known had this past.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, for me, obviously, I mentioned Army Navy, grew up in a military family. My dad served in the Army and my grandfather who raised me. And so also being a fierce advocate for gender equity, this story just, it really hits so many things that I find inspirational. But another thing that's really cool about this story, right, we're going to talk a lot about, the inequities that veterans face when they transition out of the military and trying to get into corporate America. But I think it's really powerful for just overall transferable skill sets, right? I think this is going to resonate with anyone who's looking to make a career pivot, right? Who, might be wanting to change industries. And I really hope it resonates for hiring managers to look beyond the resume, right? There's so many soft skills, transferable skills that add that diversity of perspective and can put you in often a way better place, your team, right, in terms of innovation and revenue growth and all the things that hiring managers want to accomplish, other than just being like black and white and looking at a resume.
No, absolutely. I think we're seeing more and more that it's like you can teach the industry, you can teach kind of the skill set for the specific position, but there's some things in terms of kind of the passion, the integrity, the work ethic, the stick-to-itiveness. Yeah. You can't really teach that, that leadership,
grit.
And the grit.
Yes.
The grit. That's a perfect word for it. That you can't teach.
Yeah.
That's something that you develop over time. That's kind of something that, kind of life helps mold for you. And so it's good to see kind of that coming to the forefront. And veterans, they're kind of the perfect, canvas for that because of everything that they have to do that are above and beyond what, as a civilian, you would even think you would need to do or it's possible on a day-to-day basis.
Exactly. Do you guys have any great anecdotes or stories from your career experience as a candidate or as a hiring manager where you've seen a really positive impact from leaning into transferable skill sets?
I mean, I think for me, absolutely. With Wonder Nation, that's one of the things that we really wanted to do. We wanted to be able to say, how can we get a skill set beyond just core casino to bring in? We wanted to bring in from tech. So we look at it in terms of a lot of the team members. Like we have someone from loyalty that came from credit card and retail. And has a very interesting background and perspective to bring. One of my VPs, she comes from like private equity and agency. And, so you have all these different experiences in terms of how you attack problems. And so you have different perspectives that you bring into. So I think diversity of thought, gender and age diversity, all of these things are so important when you're thinking about these things too, and how you figure out how to mold and create that team that complements each other.
Exactly.
Yeah. For me, diversity of thought's an important one. So I have two examples. I have a great CMO at our company. His name is Mark Wadley. So he comes from a pharmaceutical background, and he has just jumped into gaming like feet first and made a huge splash. And everything that he has done so far has really made an impact on our business and how we sell our product. And so knowing that he comes from a different background, he doesn't normally sell slot machines, and he's made such an impact. And I think that transferable skill is huge. And then for me specifically, I'm almost a year into a new role, and I took a big risk because I didn't have the background in this role, and I wanted to learn, and I wanted to go in and have better understanding of how games are made and how our incredible studios put out product. But I did have a background in commercial. And so I was able to bring my commercial experience and my sales experience into their world and help them. So not only did they teach me something, I helped them with my skill set that wasn't necessarily for this role, but I think it expanded it and made it better.
Yeah.
And I think, you could be the customer advocate because I think in many cases, from that perspective, when you're kind of deep in the product, you're not really thinking about that in that perspective. So it's very interesting. And it's funny, as soon as you said pharmaceutical sales, I was like, immediate light bulb. You can definitely see how kind of that would be, how it would be so transferable.
I think it's really important for candidates, right, to hear this too. Even if you don't match every single bullet on the job description, right, that doesn't mean that you're not a great fit, because there could be something transferable from your background, right? It's all about positioning and connecting those dots, right, when you're seeking new opportunities. Really telling that story. And I mean, for me personally, right, I think I mentioned this on previous episodes, right, but I was doing government services less than 5 years ago, true federal subcontracting, and here we are in gaming, and couldn't love it more. So well, Lauren, you mentioned it, right, the point of the Spotlight series, right? It's going back to stories or permission slips. You never know when hearing about somebody's unique experience and career journey, right, how that might resonate with you and really become a catalyst for amazing changes in your own life, career trajectory. So I'm just really looking forward to hearing from Esther. I know y'all will be so inspired. So let's bring her in. Esther Kim, one of the best product managers at FanDuel and one of the first women to serve in a close combat role in the military.
Very cool.
All right, Esther, welcome. We are so happy to have you here. And we actually got these little poppy pins in your honor. We found out that they're a way to honor female veterans. So thank you for your service, and thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm doing great. If you guys hear barking, it did just start pouring and thundering.
No worries. But no, we're just so thrilled to have you here. And obviously you and I have been working together for, over a year to, share your story and, platform, because I know for me, it is just endlessly inspiring, and I just cannot wait for a wider audience to, hear all about your unique career journey, how you've broken barriers, right? And in the spirit, of course, of the Spotlight series, stories are permission slips. So I know this is going to be really impactful for a lot of people. But of course, right, starting with the origin of this inspiration, let's hear about your background. Let's hear about, where things started for you, your origin story, and what made you want to be a soldier.
Yeah, for sure. So originally I'm from New York City, and I grew up right around when 9/11 happened. And so that hit hard home for me. And I really wanted to channel the sadness and anger that I felt and a lot of confusion into something. And I thought being in the military would be a great way to channel that stuff and also better myself as well. And I ended up going to college, joining the Army ROTC program at Fordham University in New York City. And I got really lucky. My senior year of college, the defense secretary ended up lifting a ban on women in close combat roles. And so I was in the first group of women who were allowed to serve in the infantry and armor branches.
Yes. And I love the way that you just articulated that, because I couldn't agree more, right? Any sadness, frustration, inequity, right? We have to find ways to channel that into creating actionable, positive change. So that is just so remarkable that, you found that. What did that feel like when, you're going through that experience and all of a sudden you hear about the lifting of those gender restrictions? What was that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I was super excited. It's something that I've always wanted to do, but I was told you can't do it because you're a female. And so it was just kind of in my mind that that's something that I couldn't do, but I've always wanted to do. And so once that opportunity opened up, I immediately raised my hand. I ended up getting accepted because I think in my class, there were 13 of us who were selected. And as soon as I got selected, a lot of imposter syndrome hit me. I was like, oh man, I don't know if I can do this. I really want to do it, but I don't want to be the reason why people think that women don't belong here. And so I was really hard on myself, physically, mentally. I ended up going to the gym a lot, several hours a day, multiple times a day. And then I got there and it ended up not being as hard as I thought it would be.
Yeah. Gosh, that's so powerful too, because right, we so often are celebrating those first women, right? And it's such a celebration, all of that. But I think a lot of times, there's maybe a lack of acknowledgement about how difficult that is being the first. And that imposter syndrome, right? One of my favorite mentors, personally, Laura Pacini, she actually reframed imposter syndrome for me during a Global Gaming Women Leadership Development Conference, actually. And she was like, it's really just an imposter moment, right? It doesn't define you. Imposter moments come in waves for everyone, but once again, it's not a chronic condition. It doesn't define you. And so, yeah, just amazing of you to channel that right into the gym and not letting it define you and coming out on the other side and making the impact that you have. So how was it, right? How was it being a first woman in the military, and how was your military experience in general?
Yeah, I like to think back on it and have a lot of positive memories. And, I am asked, would I do it again? And the answer is always yes. I've had a great time. I've, done something that I literally will not be able to do again in the corporate world. I've met some of my best friends. I got to experience different things and people from different backgrounds and cultures. And yeah, it's just one of those experiences you can't really replicate. But yeah, kind of what you were touching on with being one of the first women in different things, there were some difficulties, of course, a lot of naysayers. Women don't belong, they're asking for X, Y, and Z. If this happens, it's because of the woman. And so, yeah, I think that part was really difficult. And there were a lot of negative things said and done. But on the flip side, we had a lot of supporters too. And I think the supporters ended up outweighing a lot of that negative feedback and commentary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's powerful for any industry, any position, right? There's more than often going to be negativity and positivity, but to your point, right? Really accepting and really embracing the positive to outweigh the negative, right? Not everything's going to be perfect, but when you choose to really focus on the positive, then, great things happen. So I love that. And so tell us about exactly what you did in the military as well.
Yeah, so I was an armor officer and I was stationed at Fort Hood, Texas, and now it's called Fort Cavazos, I believe. But I was both a tank platoon leader and a scout platoon leader. So that means when I was a tank platoon leader, I had responsibility for 16 soldiers and 4 tanks. And then when I was a scout platoon leader, I was responsible for 40 men, I think anywhere from 6 to 8 vehicles, depending on how our readiness was. And mostly the day to day was the same. You know, you would wake up in the morning, work out with your platoon, and then because we were in a what's called a armored brigade, it's a lot of heavy equipment and stuff like that. So maintenance was a lot of there was a lot of importance on it, and so we were doing a lot of maintenance in the motor pool, going out to the field a lot to practice, working on our tactical skills, our like competencies and stuff like that in terms of shooting a tank, shooting a 50 cal and stuff like that. But yeah, it was kind of just day to day, same thing, unless you ended up going out to the field, which is probably my favorite part.
Yeah, yeah. What an incredible amount of responsibility. I mean, the things that you were overseeing, the things that you learned, right? The diversity of that skill set. I mean, it is so impressive. And I'm really excited for, this next part of the conversation to really talk about that transition out of the military and transition into corporate America. There's so much to uncover, but, how was that experience for you transitioning out of the military, and also, right, from a wider perspective, just the, typical experience of veterans transitioning out?
Man, it was hard. It was difficult. I think things have gotten a lot better since I've gotten out, but you are expected to go to this program called the Transition Assistance Program. And if you're lower enlisted, you get, I believe, 2 to 3 days. And then if you were ranked higher, you had a week-long program. And it basically was telling you how to be a civilian. So, going from being in the military every single day for X amount of years to learning how to be a civilian, to be a good employee in that short amount of time was really difficult. Yeah. And a lot of the resources were geared towards people who wanted to go into the federal workforce, work for the government. And so I didn't find it particularly useful for me. And I ended up networking with a lot of people and learned that that was really key in terms of making a lot of good connections that can help you get to a different place than where you are. And yeah, I did some research, ended up doing I think it's called Career Skills Program, CSP, through a company that basically helped me get an internship during my 3 months last 3 months of active duty service at a company to just kind of learn some of those skills, whether it's, learning how to use specific programs or learning not to cuss as much and just interacting with people from different backgrounds again,
Yeah. I mean, I definitely want to emphasize, gosh, that is not a lot of time. That is a very, very short window. And once again, right, what you're doing and what so many of those who have served in the military are doing right during their active duty service, it's so impressive. Once again, the diversity of skill set, right, the responsibility, the learning on the fly, all of those things. And then you're only getting 2-3 days, maybe a week to learn how to tell that story of those transferable skill sets and how that relates to corporate America outside of just federal subcontracting. Yeah, not a lot of time. So what did you want to do, and how did you end up finding yourself in the gaming industry at FanDuel?
Yeah, I mean, when I got out, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And from talking with those people who ran those programs, they were saying, as an armor officer or just an officer in general, you're basically a project manager, which, it made sense to me. And so I ended up being a project manager at an advertising agency. I did that for a few years, and I learned that that was not something I wanted to do in terms of the industry and whatnot. but I really enjoyed the aspect of working cross-functionally. And so I wanted to keep that, but be in a different industry that I found more exciting, something that moved more quickly. And so I ended up going towards tech, and I wanted to be a product manager. So I went to a startup, worked in product there, and then I like to tell people that I got really lucky getting laid off from that startup. I really wanted to figure out at that point what I wanted to do, what kind of culture or environment I wanted to be a part of. And so I did a lot of research. I ended up, again, networking with people through LinkedIn, trying to get their honest feedback on what they liked about their company, their roles and stuff like that. And I found a job on FanDuel, sounded really interesting, applied for it, and then I got a call back, I think a couple of weeks later. So yeah, it worked out for me.
Yes, yeah. So one of our mutual favorite people, Gareth Core, is who originally introduced us. And I just remember when he first told, me about you and how absolutely blown away he was in the interview, and just knew based on your experience, right? Yeah, it wasn't sports betting, it wasn't casino gaming, but he was like, gosh, we can teach her anything. Look at what she's already done. He completely was able to hone in on the value of those transferable skills. And here we are now a few years later, and you are one of the best product managers at FanDuel, as I've heard from so many people. So I love that. And I want to shout out to, right, the importance of hiring managers and those who are interviewing to, really recognize when there is an opportunity for transferable skill sets to make a positive impact on your organization, your team, that, maybe isn't the exact black and white on, a resume. Obviously, yeah. So here you are making an incredible impact on FanDuel as well. So how has your time at FanDuel been? What have you done to, really impact the organization?
Yeah, just to go back quickly,
Oh, yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Gareth Core. He is such a champion of women. He immediately wanted to introduce me to you and to other women in the company that he thought would be great mentors. And he's just an amazing human being. And I think you find a lot of people like that where they want to help, but he goes above and beyond. So yeah, I really love Gareth.
Yes. Thank you, Gareth, for introducing us. We appreciate you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I bet he didn't even recognize, right? Like, he, of course, knew that you were going to excel in the product field, but you've done so much more for the company outside of just product.
Thanks. Yeah, he's definitely helped me out within some of the initiatives I wanted to do at FanDuel outside of the product realm, one of which was creating a veterans ERG, or employee resource group. I've noticed that, there's a lot of different ERGs at companies, but at the companies I've been at, there weren't any for veterans. And I think the thing people tend to miss the most when they leave the service is just that sense of community, being with people who understand the different things that you've gone through. And so I really wanted to get that going. There were some hurdles, but, Gareth was in my corner. He was helping me break down obstacles, and we became an interest group, I want to say maybe a little under a year and a half ago. And then this past January, we became an official ERG. So now we have an actual budget that we can work with for the year. And we have done a ton of different events, even as an interest group. So last year we did things like Lingo Bingo to bring some awareness to the company that, there are veterans and everybody loves bingo at FanDuel. And so instead of numbers, we put in like military terms that were funny to us. Yeah. And then we also participated in the New York City Veterans Day Parade.
That is amazing. And I mean, once again, here you are channeling, right? You're seeing a gap and you're like, all right, I'm not just going to sit around and watch it happen and complain about it or whatever. You're going to actually be that change and, create that into positive, actionable impact. So just something so impressive about your character, and love to see it. You help, of course, you help a lot of the hiring managers at FanDuel, right, kind of understand, like, translate what those military resumes mean. You do that too, right?
Yeah, we're definitely trying to work on creating a template that is sort of like a dictionary that you can refer to when you're looking at people from different backgrounds, especially veterans, and to kind of help that along in terms of veteran hiring processes, we're partnering with Hiring Our Heroes, which is another CSP or career skills program. And that program, again, allows people to, or service members to participate in essentially an internship for their last 3 months in active duty service at a company and get those skills that they might not have, because I think right now there is an understanding that veterans bring a lot of soft skills, but not necessarily hard skills in different corporate roles. So by bridging this sort of gap, you are giving these veterans those hard skills that they need to be successful in their next career.
Yeah, gosh, that is absolutely brilliant and so needed, right? Exactly to your point. A lot of people recognize those soft skills, but being able to translate them into hard skills to really, help hiring managers understand the unique value that, you're not going to get from a lot of different or other demographics. It is so impactful, and I could absolutely see that scaling far beyond FanDuel as well. So just thank you for everything that you do. What would be your biggest advice, for, women in our industry, or really anyone looking to make a career pivot, join a new industry, right? You've obviously had such a really amazing experience with your own transferable skill sets. And you mentioned a lot of the networking that you did, and, just what would be your advice for those looking to position their transferable skill sets to the best of their abilities?
Yeah, I think I briefly mentioned on it, but networking is huge. I think you can apply to as many companies as you want, but they're not getting the full picture as to who you are. Yeah. So if you can meet someone, whether at an event or even just kind of message people on LinkedIn, like I've been doing, to just say, hey, like, I am such and such. I want to learn more about what you do. I think people are more interested in helping out, especially when they have a face versus just a resume. So yeah, I would definitely network. I also, with networking, try to go to events where you can find like-minded people or people in the industry you want to be in or in the job that you want to be in, just to learn from them and get their take on like potentially what you can work on and what they're looking for and whatnot.
Yes. Such good advice. Such good advice. The power of networking. It is often underrated and often can be that key, that catalyst to get you to the next level of where you're wanting to go. So just such good advice. Well, to close this out, would love to run through one of our typical Spotlight Series questions. So tell us about the best compliment that you've ever received and how it impacted your life, your trajectory, just everything in general.
Yeah, I think with my initial career in the Army, there was a lot of skepticism, and I can't talk today, and just a lot of fear in what I was doing and whether or not I was doing the right thing, or, if I was proving people right about women not being in the right role. And so a senior leader once said to me, talking about me to someone else as I was there, I would go to war with her. And, my soldiers said something like that, that, they would follow me anywhere. And so those sentiments to me felt like they had a lot of trust in me, and it validated that I was a good leader and I was doing the right thing, whether or not I was a woman. And so it gave me a lot more confidence in my role. And I think just it's something that I still carry today, that, I know I am a good person. I am a good leader. I do care. And, if someone tries to bring me down, I'll work my damnedest to move forward. It's hard at times, but yeah, I just want to, focus on the good things.
Yeah. Well, I have known you for just a little over a year, and I would say that I would probably follow you into war as well, Esther. So I totally agree with that compliment.
Appreciate it.
Yes. And I love that part of the Spotlight series, because a lot of times, people think nice things in their head, but they don't necessarily verbalize it. And the impact that, compliments and affirmation of somebody's skills, potential, et cetera, can have on their life, right? You still carrying that with you. That's so special. So I love that. But thank you so much for being here, Esther. Thank you so much for your service. I mean, this is, I can't wait. I'm so incredibly inspired, and I can't wait for this inspiration to hit a wider audience. So thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for all the sacrifices that you made for your service, and for all the impact that you're making on the gaming industry with what you're currently doing within FanDuel, which I have no doubt will end up scaling. So we're just incredibly grateful.
Thank you. Thank you for the platform, the time. I really appreciate it. And I'm so appreciative again that Gareth introduced us. I know you're someone who's in my corner, and I'm just very grateful.
Yes, I love it. Grateful for Gareth too. Well, thank you so much. We will hopefully maybe have you on here another time. But everybody definitely go follow Esther. And yeah, just keep advocating for the importance of transferable skill sets and keep lifting up veterans. So thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, wow, y'all, how amazing was that?
Yeah, really. She is just a powerhouse, isn't she? She's incredible.
Yes. I mean, I wasn't kidding. I would follow her in war as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, oh my goodness. What were y'all's favorite takeaways? What do you think?
I mean, I love the story of her really talking about the hiring manager and how he saw the potential beyond,
we love Gareth Cole.
beyond what the resume said. It kind of really looked at the person. And it was like a perfect lead in to what we were talking about at the beginning.
Yeah.
So I really just loved, and her talking about, reaching out and making sure, reaching out to people on LinkedIn, having that connection, and really driving home the point that, in many cases, like your resume isn't going to be the only thing that sells you. It's networking and making that personal connection and having them see the person behind that sheet of paper.
Yes.
To help bring that to life.
Yeah. Full story.
Yeah. For me, I think it was a couple of things, but one that stuck with me is her talking about imposter syndrome. I think everybody can be vulnerable enough to say that we've all had imposter syndrome at one point in our life, and maybe even now, right? I might have imposter syndrome as a podcast. I don't know. But also the
imposter moment.
Yes, imposter moment.
Not syndrome.
Thank you, Laura Pacini. Imposter moment.
Imposter moment. But I also think that I felt really powerful when she was talking about how she was deciding when they got rid of the ban that had women go into combat role, a direct combat role, and she was talking about how she had people in her saying that this isn't something that a female typically does, and she was just like, I'm just going to do it anyway.
Yep.
And I think that there's so much power in that, and that's incredible. And I think we can all learn a lot from Esther in the story she just told. It was incredible.
Yeah. Oh, completely agreed.
Yeah. And then also at the very beginning, her channeling kind of that
that's what I was about to say. Exactly.
And all of those emotions she felt after 9/11, and she's saying, okay, how, not just kind of dwelling in it or admiring the problem, but what can I do? How can I make an impact? What's going to feed me to kind of make me be able to make sense of this? So
exactly.
Just her motivation and origin story was very inspirational to me.
I mean, I would say, honestly, that's probably my favorite quality in a person, right? When, you see that somebody has, experienced adversity and they channel it into good. I mean, what better quality is there? Like, those are the difference makers, the impact makers. Those people change the world. So Esther, we love you.
Yeah, I think that's this is the perfect way to honor her with the poppies. So why they are a beautiful fashion accessory. We love that this is our special way to be able to honor women veterans. So.
Oh, exactly. Well, thank you, Esther, once again. Just so happy to share that story. But before we sign off, let's do our typical rapid fire. Let's have a little fun. We'll do some 4th of July themed rapid fires. Okay, so did favorite memories, traditions. What about favorite 4th of July food, snack, Anika?
I think hot dogs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hot dogs. And those firecracker bomb, the
popsicles.
Yeah, the popsicles, the red, white, and blue kind of
ice cream truck vibes.
Yeah. Soda ice cream truck vibes.
Yeah. I'd have to say hot dog too. Yeah, it's a classic.
Yeah. I feel like watermelon. Ooh, you gotta have some watermelon at 4th of July. Yes. Okay. Light sparklers or see fireworks, Lauren?
See fireworks.
Oh, okay.
It's so powerful.
Yeah, see fireworks. Cute Katy Perry.
Yeah. Cute Katy Perry. Absolutely. I agree. I'm kind of scared of fire, so sparklers freak me out a little bit. But okay, celebrating with friends or family?
Both. My friends are my family.
Yeah, exactly.
Agreed.
Exactly, yeah.
That's my answer as well.
Yeah.
Okay, lake, beach, pool.
Ooh, beach.
Oh, yeah. If I could have my choice, it'd be beach. Yeah. We live pretty close to one, but you know, I have a pool, so both.
Not as exotic.
Yeah.
I'd like to go. Yeah, I'd like to go to the beach
if I had to choose. It's not fantasy. We can do what we want.
Yeah, exactly. Theoretical. I agree. Beach. All right, mustard or ketchup?
Ketchup.
Mustard
is weird.
Burrito.
Mustard is weird. I'm sorry.
Mustard is relish.
Mustard is
Relish. Yes. I know I didn't have that one, but okay.
Mustard.
Yes. Pop or country? What's your 4th of July soundtrack?
Cute Katy Perry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, pop country. I feel like Zach Bryan, Casey Musgraves, a little bit of both. So
I could get down with that. Yeah.
All right, last one. Hosting or attending your 4th of July party?
Attending.
I know. I'm like, hosting is a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love hosting.
Yeah.
I haven't yet, but one day I will host my 4th of July party.
And then you will love to attend.
Yes.
I hope we're all invited.
Yeah, you guys are totally invited.
Yeah, we will come there.
Yes. Well, great. Well, I hope everyone has an amazing 4th of July. Thanks for spending another episode with us. Make sure to reach out on social. Also, our email address, right? Yeah. fairgame@globalgamingwomen.org. We'd love to hear from you. Sure. Reviews, feedback, episode ideas, topics you want to learn, or, you know, hear from certain individuals. Yeah. So let us know.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Happy 4th.
Yay.